I'll only be away for like 3 months, I reassured everyone in the days leading up to my departure from my family and the island of Kauai. Things change though, my mom reminded me, again. You'll come back and things will be the same, yet different. It'll be home, and it won't be. With my mom's urgent insistings that coming back would have a strange sensation on my inner psyche, I was convinced that when I did come home, it would simulate a feeling similar to stepping into a familiar pair of shoes, but having each one on the opposite foot. I would already be accustomed to the shoe's style, its fabric, but for some reason it would feel like I, or some element of myself, didn't quite belong anymore. However, this feeling never came. Even the drastic change in weather didn't faze me. The first noticeable difference revealed itself at night when I didn't have a bed to sleep in and was demoted to a sleeping bag on the floor. It was strange to feel like the house I had lived in for almost a year no longer had enough room for me. It was strange to realize my older sister, who I grew up with, had never lived in this house with me. To see her wander through it like a child visiting a grocery store for the first time, not knowing which cabinets held the dishes and which contained the cups. She told me she was ready to go back to Oregon because she had her own life there and could do whatever she wanted, but she still called Kauai home, even though she only stayed with us for a brief 6-month period before going off to college, and she never particularly liked it either. This is when I truly started to contemplate what home was. Is it the place where you live your own life, or the place where the people you want to share your life with are? Is it where you spend the most time or have the most fun? Is it where your parents live, or is it where you've learned to be comfortable without them? After returning to Kauai, and then re-returning to Wellesley, I've begun to answer some of these questions. Home, for me, harbors an overarching feeling of acceptance. It's the place you can go, knowing you can sit shoulder to shoulder with someone without them thinking it odd and politely recoiling from your touch. It's a place where the line between the title of friend and family is practically non-existent, and you feel safe enough to be the grossest version of yourself. It's a launch pad for you to take off from to begin a new adventure, and a landing strip for you to touch down on in between journeys. A destination that you have a reason to return to, regardless of how long you've been away. I could tell you about home by describing the little green house that just shows up as a concrete wall on Google Maps. But I've discovered that I no longer call the house there mine. It's now my parents' house, but Kauai is still my home. The 4-letter word home is comprised of more than just 4 walls and the people that raised you. It is a limitless idea, a place that leaves traces of itself etched into you. It changes little things, the way you act, the way you speak, adds nuances to your personality when you're not looking, like whether you call them flip-flops or slippers. It's a place that you're proud to have been a part of, even for just a little while. My home on Kauai feels like sand between my toes. It smells like tourist sunscreen and feels like a saltwater wind blowing through my hair. But I've learned that you can have more than just one home. Even though I haven't been back in almost 3 years, my home in Oregon encompasses some of my greatest memories and some of my strongest bouts of laughter. And now the home I'm still developing at Wellesley provides me endless opportunities and ice cream. Being home simulates the feeling of taking both shoes off and letting your feet breathe after a long day, allowing them to recognize the earth and blindly, unquestioningly move forward. It takes a while for them to grow used to a new place, a new surface to tread on where they'll meet the marks made by others before them. But give it time, because really home is just a state of mind.